Hello and welcome to a look at Chase HQ 2 Special Criminal Investigations for the Amiga, a title arcade original that was converted by ICE and released by Ocean. Normally, of course, I would cover the plot at the beginning of one of these videos, but the game has already told the plot. Three girls has been kidnapped and the Chase HQ team has been asked to do something about it. One of the girls, being the mayor's daughter, is probably the main reason why it is so important that the Chase HQ team handles the situation, but for those of you familiar with the original Chase HQ, the game's foundation is exactly the same as that particular game, except for a few extras. First and foremost, you have a souped-up car, which is a different souped-up car compared to the souped-up car you had in the first game. But more importantly, the driver, not the driver, the passenger in the Chase HQ vehicle can use a gun to shoot at stuff. Predominantly the perpetrators that you're trying to catch, but you can also use the gun to get rid of gun-toting motorcyclists and in general just shoot anything in front of you to get it out of the way. The only difference between shooting stuff and moving around stuff is a lower point score, so yeah, there's no penalty for just shooting every civilian vehicle in your path. Just like in the original Chase HQ, you are given a perpetrator that you need to chase down, and then you are sent into a level where you initially has a certain amount of time to catch up to the perpetrator, and then you are given a fixed amount of time, which is completely and utterly disconnected from how much time you had remaining when you caught up to the perpetrator. And then you have that time frame to stop the perpetrator, either by using your gun or by ramming them. Certain reviewers are claiming that the ramming didn't work, but in my experience it worked perfectly fine. Beyond that, from time to time, well, it's not from time to time, it seems to be a regular occurrence. When you have about 25 to 30 seconds left of the time to stop the perpetrator, a helicopter will fly in and drop some rocks for you that you can use against the vehicles that you're trying to stop. Development of the fact that there's probably a tied up girl in the back of that car and you're using rockets against it, but I mean, details. Let's not worry too much about those. The differences between the original game and this game are minimal, to say the least. But as an arcade game, it works, because I never played the second game in the arcades, but I did play the first game, and it was a very, very fast-paced, exciting experience. Which is not something you could say about the Amiga conversion of the same game, and the conversion of this particular title does not fare much better. From a graphical point of view, I overall think that most objects in this particular title looks decent. The player vehicle, it sort of from behind looks incredibly similar to a Ferrari type vehicle, but it is not listed to be a Ferrari type vehicle or Ferrari vehicle at all. So I assume that either title didn't get a license or they didn't bother to try getting a license and just made the car look similar but have some sort of unnamed name thing. It looks perfectly serviceable, except for the fact that I can't help but feel it looks like it's about 2 feet tall, and it looks a bit odd to me. The main perpetrators have unique looking vehicles, which is good because that makes them easy to identify, but of course they are also identified by a huge indicator over them, so you can't possibly miss them. The other vehicles are incredibly generic, and certain reviewers who are complaining about the lack of variety of the different vehicles, but they are just obstacles in your way and fluff, and they don't need to be particularly exciting to look at. The same goes for the side clutter. You are supposed to be driving past it at an incredibly high speed, so putting so much effort into making it look super detailed is probably wasted, but certain bits of the side clutter looks very almost childish, to be honest. The sound effects, they do what they need to do. I do find half of them acceptable and half of them incredibly annoying. One thing that I find interesting is that there is a sound difference between the gun and firing a rocket, but it's not easily noticeable. And I think some more effort could have been made into making the rocket sound a bit more dramatic when it gets fired, and of course when it actually hits something. The speech there is Karen, your operator from JSHQ, sounds believable, and the perpetrators, when you catch them, and the team in the vehicle you are driving themselves sounds a bit goofy. So 50% decent, 50% not so decent. The music, I in general find very enjoyable. The title tune is a funky, hip kind of thing that may or may not get you in the mood for some amazing action. And the in-level tunes are very enjoyable, but it is also very easy to hear that certain passages of the music is incredibly heavily inspired by the theme to the TV series Miami Vice. One thing is being inspired by something, another thing is to flirt with copyright infringement. But I can't complain because I do find the music enjoyable as a whole. Controls: up to accelerate, down to brake, left to steer left, right to steer right. Spacebar to use the turbo boost, and the fire button to shoot your gun. The controls work, they seem to be responsive enough. So overall, in that regard, I have very little to complain about. At the foundation level, this game is a racing game. The fact that you had a gun-toting maniac in the passenger seat, it doesn't make much of a difference, which also makes it hard to justify calling it a sequel. But of course, because it is a racing game, the racing has to feel good, enjoyable, and exciting. And as you may have gathered by the video footage so far, the graphical frame rate can be all over the place. It is incredibly sluggish, and it reduces the sense of speed, and it reduces the sense of control, which is not something that is a particularly good combination. Add to the fact that the amount of civilian vehicles being present is bad enough, but on top of that, the civilian vehicles have no respect for the law of any kind, because you can race around with your siren blaring and having the aforementioned gun-toting maniac firing his gun constantly, and they still get in your way because that's fun and exciting. Add to the fact that no matter what type of vehicle the perpetrator is driving, whether it's a sports car or an old banger or a van, they can still outpace you even when you're activating your turbo, which is incredibly frustrating. On top of that, the time limit given to complete the missions is so incredibly tight that it often feels more like luck than skill if you actually manage to beat a level. And it all adds to a not particularly enjoyable conversion, I am sorry to say. On that note, thanks for watching, take care, see you next time, bye bye.